morning, guys. Slept pretty well last night. Actually, I had a long day yesterday. I usually wake up at around 6:30 a.m., but today I ended up sleeping until like 7:30. So I want to make sure I had enough energy for the scrimmage, but I wanted to show you guys what I'm cooking for breakfast today. So for those who've been following me along on Instagram, I've been enjoying these no to low carb breakfasts. So I have leftover brisket. I'm going to use the fat from the brisket as oil. I love putting mushrooms in there. And I usually put about 3 or 4 eggs depending on how hungry that I feel. So first thing I do is I cook the mushrooms separately because they take a little longer to cook, and then also I want all the water to evaporate. Otherwise it'll make the omelet scramble a little soggy. So I let that simmer for a couple minutes. So once they're like halfway done, after sauteing them for a little bit, I'll scoot them in the corner so they don't get overcooked, and I kind of shift the flame so most of the heat concentrates here. Then I put the meat in, and instead of using oil, you let this simmer a little bit and you'll see all the fat kind of melt off. So I try to do my no carb, high fat, high protein as a way of staying lean. So you see all the grease from there. Now I gotta crack an egg. I don't know if I can crack this with one hand since I'm holding the camera, but I'll try to see what happens. No, not gonna happen. Alright, so put a little salt in here, a little pepper, and also garlic powder. And now mix everything together. And I do like to undercook it a little bit, see how it's a little bit wet, just because I like my eggs to be soft and smooth. I don't like that rubbery feeling. Got the scramble, look at that steam, and of course the milk tea. That's super yummy with the brisket. That's my first time doing that. Just got to House of Hustle. We're gonna do a little morning serve and pass session with Brant with the serving machine because we're trying to win tonight. The machine. All right, this is how it works. Turn this on. Oh, looks like it's not plugged in. All right, now we got it rolling. It's on float serve, probably 40, low 50 miles per hour. Let's see. Oh, whoops, top spin. Never mind, top spin. Ooh. First one's a dime. All right, now it's my turn. First couple reps are usually pretty rough, so we'll see how this one goes. That was a solid rep session with Brant. We just got maybe 2 or 3 rounds of serve receive. So we only passed about 60 to 80 balls. Got some light pepper, but it feels good just to refine your touch and get a rhythm before the game. Also, I know I keep talking about this, but I'm really loving this hydrate formula from Upper Echelon Nutrition. I just keep this in my gym bag because this is really durable and small. I fill this bad boy up with some water, put a scoop of that in there, and then take a sip. Really convenient, 0 sugar, 0 calories, all hydration, and then you have to go afterward to really add the extra refreshing experience. But if you're looking for like an alternative to Gatorade, Powerade, and other hydration stuff, like I used to use Liquid IV, definitely recommend the Upper Echelon Nutrition Hydrate Formula. House of Hustle has this awesome weight room that you guys can rent, but they also use it for their club practices. And this is actually where I train my clients when we do jump training, spiking power, weight room stuff. So one thing I like to do on game days in the mornings is I like to get a very light lifting session, more injury prevention stuff. So rotator cuff, core, ankle, knee stability. And then I like to do some power cleans, just full body explosiveness just to get my nervous system going for the day. I like to keep it really light on game days. One, you don't want to over fatigue yourself by going too heavy, but more focus on speed and explosiveness. And I like to do this power clean complex. A complex just means like a series of variations all in one set with no breaks in between. So I do a power clean from the floor, like being explosive from a static position, which means a still position, and then doing a hang clean, which is more traditional with a counter movement into the power position, and then to the hang clean into a full clean to make sure I have good hip, ankle, knee, I guess wrist, lat mobility, shoulder mobility, all that stuff. I like to get into deep positions when I'm working out, not as a main focus like knees over toes guy, but just to make sure that the entire range of the motion of the joints are greased and mobile, because that's where most people get injured, is in those end ranges. So I try to make sure I can still achieve those end ranges as frequently as possible, help me stay injury free for a long time. One thing you can never get enough of is developing your shoulder health and maintaining that. Even on game days, same thing, I'll go a little lighter, higher volume. Today I focus more on like scapular retraction, so that just means bringing your shoulder blades together, working out the rhomboids, and then doing the W position with external rotation, stimulating the rotator cuff, all four muscles there, and then making sure I have good overhead shoulder stability, so working out the lower traps through that Y position. There are lots of variations. There's a T position, there's an I position, but you just gotta find out which one you're weakest at and really capitalize on those and do as much work. Or you could do all four letters and just hit all those areas. But you could do those almost every day at a lightweight. If you're gonna go a little bit heavier, and I'm not talking about like 30 pounds, I was only doing 5 pounds there, but you can do, if you wanna do 10 or 15, then keep it about 5 reps. But when you're doing a little bit lightweight, you can go a little higher reps, because today focusing on that endurance aspect and then trying not to fatigue those smaller muscles, because they will get fatigued pretty fast. Then I like to finish off with a little bit of shoulder core stability, I guess. The plank bird dog is one of my favorite ones. Usually I do like a straight arm plank, which is a little bit more challenging, but today I'm not trying to over fatigue myself. So I did a bent elbow plank, which is a little bit easier, still pretty challenging, and really working on controlling the movement. It really challenges your core stability, especially when you're working with like contralateral movements, which just means like diagonally opposing limbs, muscle groups. So that's been one of my go-tos recently. Still keeping it light. I was able to do this whole workout in 30 minutes. So game day stuff, it's okay to lift weights, but you don't want to over fatigue. Off days, you can go pretty hard since you're not playing volleyball or having an important competition that day. Just finished a little work. I'm gonna fuel up on some sandwich and chips. And usually for those of you guys who've been following my vlogs, I like to eat like a very heavy breakfast. But if I'm playing later in the day, because I already have calories in my body, I like to actually have a slightly lighter meal, still with carbs, fats, and proteins, but not as heavy as like that big McDonald's breakfast that I usually eat. So I like to come to 7-Eleven sometimes if I don't have anything, get a sandwich, bag of chips, and that's it. Because these are so cheap, I sometimes get 2 of them just in case I feel lightheaded when I play. I like to mix it up with the chicken salad and the tuna salad. I usually get the Ruffles. These are my favorite chips, but I might go old school and try the Doritos again, the Cool Ranch flavor. Got my little meal station here. I'm gonna start off with the tuna chips, and while watching Out of System podcast featuring Spencer Wickens. Shout out to Spencer, been playing with him recently, but their Out of System podcast is just so interesting. So make sure you go check it out on their YouTube channel. So this is how you do sandwich and chips. I don't know if this is like popular in other countries, but just the softness combined with the like a crunchiness. And you gotta do it together in the same bite. You can't just eat the entire sandwich or the entire chips afterward. You gotta like mix it together. Perfect combo. Special thanks to Out of System for hooking up with this sick pink tank top. Nice, love their logo here on the pink, looks awesome. And with the mini one in the front. I get to look cool today. Nice. So I came early to set up our merch table. This is the first time actually displaying all the apparel all at once. So special thanks to City Beach for giving us a space to promote ourselves, and they're not charging fees for spectators. So shout out to City Beach. Make sure you check them out if you're in the Bay Area. Great girls and boys volleyball clubs, camps, and clinics. And then the out-of-system guys are going to be setting up right here. Got a full cart of warm-up balls. Nets getting adjusted. Slugs made it safely over the hill.
It looks great. 3 for 3. I got both out-of-system members and Coach Donny. Today's a good day.
Man, that was so fun. Just packed up all the gear in the car. Took tons of photos, talked to a lot of fans. So if you went to the event, thank you so much for coming out to support volleyball, and hopefully you have fun meeting the out-of-system crew and getting a chance to meet all you fans as well. I'm super hungry. I'm gonna get some food and can't wait to share my thoughts on the day. Man, it was super hot and sweaty in there. Summer is definitely on its way, but City Beach was an awesome place to host this mini round robin. So special thanks to City Beach Fremont for hooking it up. It's always crazy when you take a shower and then the water is like a gray color. Ugh. You know you've been sweating and collecting all this dust. Got a little bit late start. A lot of the teammates were stuck in traffic. You know, we started this at 5:30, so definitely a high peak traffic time. So we didn't get a really long warm up for our team. So we had off to a slow start. But once we got our groove, you know, we were playing pretty well against the Slugs. And the Slugs, they play together a lot. They already have their chemistry. It felt like we were still slowly trying to build chemistry between our setter and our hitters. And that's no one's fault. I mean, that's just part of playing together more. And you can tell that Joe and Gage have been playing together forever because they have this incredible connection that they understand each other's tempos and windows and communication styles. And it's kind of funny because they're always like going up to each other whispering things. But I'm sure they're just trying to figure out like strategy and their connection. But it was so fun playing with them. I mean, Joe is a phenomenal setter. He got me so many great sets that just sat in that window. And I think maybe because he's an undersized player, he understands that you can't just throw a ball up and fast. Like people always think, oh, faster is better. Because I don't have a huge window and I'm not 6'4", 6'5" with a fast arm. I'm 39. I'm kind of springy. My arm is like medium speed and I don't touch super high. I got decent hops, but I don't have a huge hitting window, so he did such a good job trying to find me. And it was fun having Gage like play a passing type of opposite. Now, in terms of game analysis, this is probably the best that I felt in a long time, and this is probably the highest I felt like I've been jumping in a long time. And I think it just gave me a bigger window in the air. Ironically, I just talked about having a smaller window, but I felt like I was hanging in the air a little bit longer to kind of do some slimy stuff. And that's something that I've been really working on trying to incorporate in my game. Just watching so much more professional volleyball and college volleyball, like throwing is just one of the most effective ways. I'd definitely love to hit, of course, don't get me wrong. But if it's not there, just like jamming it into the waterfall or in the seam between blockers with your right hand or left hand. I've been really trying to work on that in the past couple months. Definitely found a good groove against the Slugs, but I made way too many errors against the Oaks trying to do that. And after I missed 2 or 3 times, I should have just stopped trying and just threw it into the block and recycle it, or tip it short and wait for a little bit better set. But I tried to score on too many opportunities, and we lost by a couple points, so I felt like I cost us some critical points in there. Now, in terms of serving, I wasn't sure how I was going to serve. Honestly, I felt like my serving has been off this past couple months. I've just been feeling really off. The last tournament, the Elevate Spring Invitational, that's probably one of my worst performances in a long time. And you can't I always wonder, like, are we going to ever bounce back from these things, or are you getting a little too old? But just refocusing and practicing more positive mindset, and just knowing that no, if Tom Brady can do it until he's 45, then I can do it until I'm 45 as well, and maybe even longer. And so just refocusing on my training and just being patient as my body tries to figure out how to get back to feeling good. My serve receive felt so much better than it did at that tournament, so I'm really happy about that. Just doing reps on Monday and Tuesday, and then reps with Gage, and just building my confidence again and finding out rhythm and touch. I definitely felt much more confident in my serve receive. Defense, I felt like I was reading really well, and I just could not get a dig, and I was so frustrated because I'm right there. And if I'm right there, if I can touch it, I should be able to control it, and that just could have saved us a couple more points. I got a lot of soft blocks. I got faked out really badly on one play, but after that, I was able to read the setter a little bit better to at least help block in the middle. But man, I should call them the Oaks. Man, they just hit right over me. But that's just how it goes being an undersized hitter. And Gage has got such a fast arm. Like, that guy has a cannon, and he's got such a huge whip. So it's no surprise that Joe can set him super fast across the window, and Gage can just cut it off. For me, if Joe tries to send me that tempo, I'll probably hit out because my arm's not fast enough to catch it up there. So definitely feel good about at least going 1-on-1. I think just not playing together a lot with our middles and our other hitters, trouble finding our connection, and we had some moments where we struggled to serve receive and couldn't side out. There are some moments where definitely I already knew Joe was a great setter, but to see him take over a game, both offensively, like the dumping, the blocking, and then the serving, like, he really turned up the heat when he saw that our team was struggling to score points. So man, mad props to Joe for just imposing his will. And Gage, like, as the points were going down, he's just like, nah, I'm passing like the whole court, and giving us that support there, and their energy. I just love the energy of the Worsley brothers, and they compete with such intensity and effort. And there really was an all-out effort from both brothers, and so happy to play with them. It was also cool to see how many fans that they have. They're such a big presence in the volleyball community, and it was just cool to combine forces. And during the breaks, it was so fun to see, like, both of our tables packed with people wanting to take photos and checking out our merch. And we even though we posted this like 3 days ago, we had people coming out from Tracy and Sacramento, which is like 2 hours away. And it's just fun to give back to the volleyball community. And a lot of people said they have fun. Hopefully we're able to entertain some people. And yeah, it was just a really fun event. And I'm looking forward to the next time we play together, and as we continue to build better connections and become the tall system or out of ones. So let me know which name you guys like better, out of ones or tall system, or if you have another version that you like better when we combine. But I'm feeling really good about where my body is. I'm leaving next week for USAV Nationals, and then doing the Women's VNL event right after in Arlington. So a lot of good volleyball stuff coming up. And then right after that, we have our IVL Men's Open, and I just feel good. This is like the first time. I think the only thing that's missing right now is I need to be a little more consistent with my errors. Like, when I find myself making the same error twice, I have to just hit it in first and then find a rhythm. I have to be aware of that. I can't try to win the entire game on every single swing. And then I know that my defense will just come in time. I feel like I'm reading and seeing the game well. I'm moving fast. I just need to continue to keep committing and learning to control those balls. Thanks again, Out of System, for doing this little collab mini round robin. Hopefully we'll get a chance to play with you again.